For thousands of years, people of different places and cultures celebrated the passing of the seasons. The time of Halloween is the most famous of these times. So famous, in fact, that they've made movies about it. What is Halloween? Well, it's a mix of different customs and practices which have blended over the centuries. Samhain, as celebrated by the Celtics as the summer's ending, giving way to harvest time and a lowering of the veil between the dead and the living. Fires would be made over time to ward off witches and evil spirits. Christianity made its mark on October 31st in the 8th century, when Pope Gregory III moved the Feast of All Saints from May 13th to November 1st. Maybe he thought it was a good thing. With the Feast of All Souls, of course, to follow on November 2nd to commemorate and remember those who have died and moved on. Since Christian Catholic holidays always started with a vigil, meaning, the night before the actual day, October 31st became known as the Eve of All Saints. Saint means Holy One, so it would be called Eve of All Hallows or the Hallowed Evening. The lingo would eventually evolve to All Hallows Evening, or for short, Halloween. Many Celtic and pagan customs were retained during this time period, and as a result was brought over to America by the Irish in the late 1800s, where the customs not only survived, they flourished. In Mexico, too, they had what's called as Dia de los Muertos, where they commemorate and hold similar ideas. Again, the whole concept of the veil between the dead and the living is faded. Well, like I said, in the late 1800s, it really kicked in here in the States. And the customs, again, they flourished. Eventually, October 31st became not only a day of celebration of summer's end, but a time to have fun by having parties, dressing up in costumes, carving pumpkins, and beginning what we call trick-or-treat. By the way, originally it was a turnip they used to carve up and put a candle in, not a pumpkin. They figured pumpkins were more easier to cut. The original pagan roots of Samhain were eventually faded out and replaced by what we have now. Many Christian groups, though, today still oppose Halloween, claiming that it's a satanic holiday. I have a question, though. Have you ever seen a Satan worshiper dressed as Iron Man? Yeah, there are those who still try to hold to the pagan roots of Samhain. Wiccans, or witches if you like, conduct ceremonies conducive to the practices of October 31st. Among other nights of the year, of course. They have a whole bunch. What does this have to do with the movies? I thought this was a YouTube channel about movies. Well, everything. With the advent of horror films in the 20th century, it was only fitting that horror movies and Halloween would become bedfellows. As horror films exploded, so did Halloween. People started dressing up as Frankenstein and Dracula. Part of having Halloween parties was sitting in front of the TV even and watching scary movies to set the mood as the doorbell rang, and again, by children trick-or-treating. Eventually, movies of all kinds would, from time to time, present Halloween in their films, even if it's brief. But none holds a candle to the film that brought it all home. This film spawned a franchise that is with us to this day. In fact, as this video is being made, they're still working on Halloween Kills, the next installment of the new Halloween trilogy of the 2020s. Dr. Loomis brings it home in his little speech in Halloween 2.
Samhain. It means the Lord of the Dead. The end of summer. The festival of Samhain. October 31st.
Not many people know this, but there was actually a novelization of John Carpenter's Halloween that was published in 1979. Even though it takes away the mystery of Michael Myers and why he does what he does, I still find it interesting to visit every now and then the prologue of that novel, which takes place not on Halloween night in 1963, but on the Feast of Samhain, 3,000 years before in the British Isles. Allow me, if you will, to read a bit of the prologue. The horror started on the eve of Samhain, in a foggy vale in Northern Ireland, at the dawn of the Celtic race. And once started, it trod the earth forevermore, wrecking its savagery suddenly, swiftly, and with incredible ferocity. What happened that night so long ago? The prologue of the novel takes place at the dawn of the Celtic race in Ireland and tells the story of a young 15-year-old disfigured boy named Enda, who is passionately in love with the king's daughter, Deirdre. After being severely humiliated for attempting to win her love, Enda attacks and brutally slays Deirdre and her fiancé at a community ritual event on Samhain. Enda is immediately killed by the other members of the village and his soul cursed to wander the earth forever, recreating the events of that night. It was the voice. The voice stirred up the hatred. It had done so in his dreams, and now it was doing it in real life. It had begun with the strange pictures in his head at night. Pictures of people he had never seen. Oh, maybe in comic books or in television, but never in real life. People in strange costumes, animal skins, armor, leather, drinking and dancing wildly around a fire. One couple in particular, they looked like Judy and Danny, madly in love with each other, dancing in a circle around a huge bonfire while he, Michael, stood in the crowd, hating them, burning up with jealousy. We should take this novel account, of course, with a grain of salt. We don't have to buy into this idea of why the shape kills. It's just an interesting read to entertain us, that's all. Most of us likely prefer the mystery, the dark inside ourselves that Michael Myers brings out into the open with a ferociousness and evil that can leave any of us level-headed people up at night. Halloween is a film for the ages. I don't know if we as a species will be around for another 3,000 years. I can't help but wonder if even then there will be costumes and parties, candy and music, movie night, and notably Halloween. Imagine that. A 3,000-year-old movie being played in however format they'll have then. I wonder what they will think of this film and the holiday it's titled after. Hello everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw on this video about Halloween. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like below and don't forget to subscribe and tap on that bell for future notifications, for future horror and coffee content. Also, don't forget to check out Alex, my buddy Alex's channel, Levels of Geeks. We're going to be doing levels of horror. Oh yeah. Make sure you click on his channel to catch him doing that with yours truly. I'll be there from time to time also to offer my 2 cents on horror and the whole thing as we celebrate October and Halloween. Take care, guys.